Good morning and welcome to the Midweek Mini. I'm your host, Andrea. Alex is away on assignment today. No, not really. I've always just wanted to say that though. Alex is at work. But anyway, today's mini is definitely a mini indeed. And it's a weird story that I'd never heard of before. And I actually came across it by accident. But last year, a new park opened in the town of Florence in Oregon, and it is named Exploding Well Park. But do you know why it's named that? Well, the story of it is quite interesting, and that's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode.
Triple M Studios proudly presents Midweek Minis, and here's your host, Andrea Lee.
Alright, so in the summer of 2020, that was last summer, and right smack in the middle of the global pandemic, a new park opened in the town of Florence. And Florence is a small, I would say a small city, it's not a small town. But anyway, it's located by the coast of Oregon, and it's right by the mouth of the Siuslaw River. Now, I've never heard or never have visited there, but just reading about the small city, it sounds very interesting and like a quaint little town. And apparently there's a bunch of sea lion caves there that are home to stellar sea lions. And that sounds pretty cool too, huh? Well, just over 50 years ago, on a day in November, back in 1970, a 45-foot sperm whale carcass washed up on the shore of a beach there in Florence. It had been quite a while since the town had to deal with a deceased whale on its beaches, so no one was really sure on how to properly dispose of it. As the town officials thought of how to solve the issue, well, as you can imagine, that carcass began to rot, and the more it rotted, the worse it smelled. Now, I can only imagine how bad something that big must smell as it rots. 45 feet long, that's quite the big well, huh? Well, honestly, I don't even want to imagine how bad it smelled. But anyway, they finally came up with a plan, and their plan was to blow it up with some help from the Oregon State Highway Division. The plan was to disintegrate the body by blowing it up, and their hopes was that the chunks of the whale would fall into the ocean or be eaten by scavengers. Well, things didn't go quite as planned. And that's not what happened, okay? On the third day that the whale, had been laying there, townspeople and news crews gathered on the beach to watch. I mean, who doesn't love a good explosion, right? A half-ton of dynamite was used to blow up the whale. And what they did was they kind of dug underneath where the whale was laying on the beach, and they packed the dynamite underneath. Well, one of the head engineers of this project was even quoted as saying, "I'm confident it'll work." So they detonated the dynamite while onlookers were sitting on the banks about a quarter mile away. When they heard the explosion, they cheered and they laughed. But those cheers, they soon turned to cries and screams when they realized that the airborne whale blubber was coming right back down towards them at a rapid speed. Now, can you imagine you're just sitting there on the beach watching them blow up a whale? They blow up the whale, and that blubber comes falling back towards you. Now, the only major thing that happened, like I said, it probably happened so fast and people panicked. But anyway, the only big thing that happened was there was a car that got crushed. There were no serious injuries, luckily. And it actually made the town of Florence somewhat famous. And that's why the new park that opened last summer was named Exploding Well Park. What a way to commemorate that weird event in the town's history, right? And I did find a video of this, that news story from 1970 on that event, and I'm going to have it on our Facebook and Twitter page just so that you can watch it. And it shows just how big that that well is. If I say 45 feet, I'm sure it's probably like, okay, 45 feet. But if you see it laying there on the beach on this video, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, gosh, it was really big. And it really was big. And then just imagine that all falling out of the sky at you. Well, like I said, this one is a very mini episode. So that's all I have for today. And don't forget to come back on Saturday for the Weekend Weird Files. And on Monday for the second part of our series on Aleister Crowley on Mystery, Murder, and Magic. And actually, you can come back on Friday for a bonus episode. But y'all have a good afternoon and enjoy the rest of your week.